Hello everyone, my name is Professor Thomas Navarra and you are now about to learn how to properly do a demonstrative speech. What we are going to do here with this project is build a 5 to 7 minute speech that shows your audience how to do something. We're looking for them to be able to make something, a grilled cheese sandwich, your favorite macaroni and cheese, maybe a woodwork project, an arts and crafts project, how to complete a process, how to tie a tie, how to tie a shoelace in a creative manner, or how something works. Explain to us any process on anything that you know and how it works. What are your best options for performing a positive and impactful demonstrative speech? I get asked all the time, I don't know what to do. I can't figure it out. Well, here I'm going to give you some examples. Pick something that you know well. I'm not asking you to go out and build a rocket and explain to us how it works. You want to find something that can be taught to your audience in either 5 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes. Something that's not too technical and does not have a ton of steps. Remember, we're trying to demonstrate and teach the audience, so we want them to be able to watch it and then go and do it. How many times have you watched a YouTube video on how to do something? Those are demonstrative speeches, although not as structured as we're going to teach you in the classroom or through these videos, but it still is the same thing. You want to be able to show it easily to a large group of people. Remember, I'm talking about in a classroom, in a large room where many people are going to watch you. And remember, the most important thing is this is an informative speech. You want to make sure that your demonstration will enhance and expand your audience's knowledge. Let's talk about being prepared and how you get prepared for delivering your demonstrative speech. The first thing we do, we always build a keyword outline. For this, you'll be using the keyword informative outline as we have done in the past. Again, I reiterate, this is an informative speech. You are teaching your audience something. You are informing them on how to do something. Next, you want to arrange and test your AV equipment. If you're using a computer, if you're using any sort of audio and video, you want to make sure that it's working prior to you getting up to delivering your speech. Think about how awkward and horrible the feeling would be if you stepped up to your podium or your work area and none of your equipment worked. Imagine the fluster, imagine the feeling, imagine your audience and how impatient they're going to be knowing that you're not ready to go and you're wasting their time as well as yours. You've heard this word before, practice, practice, practice. Make sure that you are putting the time and the effort in to prepare your speech and practice it the best that you possibly can. Make sure that you practice it, tape it, listen to it, and make any and all adjustments that you need to prior to your actual delivery of your speech on speech day. Please prepare your work area prior to your turn to speak. If you are in the classroom, make sure all of your stuff that you're going to need is up in the front, 2, maybe 3 speakers ahead of you. This way you can just move up, get ready, set up, and deliver in a timely fashion. If you're taking this class virtually or in an online format, make sure that you are ready to go when it is your turn. This way there is no time being wasted and we are not sitting there with dead air and dead space and people just sitting there wondering, when is this going to begin? I want to continue talking about the presentation by going over the fact that you need to speak clearly and use simple language. If you're using any acronyms at all, please describe what they are. If I say MLB, I must then say Major League Baseball. Only one time. Let your audience know and explain to them what the acronyms mean. You only have to do that one time. Use easy to follow step-by-step process. You want to make it so that your audience, when watching and or listening, can simply follow along with the process that you are doing so they can complete what you're doing in your demonstrative speech when you're done and you've taught them how to do something. Make sure there's no obstructions. You want to make sure that everybody can see what it is that you're doing. You don't want to get hidden behind a pole or have a large screen or anything obstructing anyone in the audience's view. Think about that really bad seat you may have had at a concert or a sporting event where you're ducking around trying to see every little thing and you're moving, or in the movie theater when you're bobbing around looking in between the guy or girl in front of his head and you're trying to see everything. It's no fun, and it really makes things unbearable for your audience. So make sure there's no obstructions for anybody in the room or in the virtual world. Make sure you're using large visual aids. Again, if you're in a large room, you want people in the back and on the sides to be able to see you. So make sure your visual aids are large. If you have the availability of using a projection screen to use PowerPoints, please do so. Please remember when you're delivering the presentation that we speak extemporaneously. I've taught you all along to remember that we speak in a conversational manner, that we speak to the audience as if we were talking to a friend in a hallway at school. Remember, we don't want to speak too fast because then our audience can't keep up with us all the time, and we don't want to speak too slowly and monotone because then we will bore our audience. Make sure you continue to speak in a normal conversational manner that you would have if you were talking to a friend. Speak to your audience, not your objects. A lot of you are going to be working with your hands facing down here, and as you can see, where are my eyes? They're down here. I'm no longer making eye contact with you. This is not good. We want to continue to speak to and have a conversation with our audience, all while showing them how to do what it is we want them to learn. How do we do this? Well, there's 3 T's for that. The first one is touch. Touch your items. And once you touch your items, you want to turn back to your audience so they can see that you are still paying attention to them as well as what you're doing. So touch, then turn and continue to talk and have a conversation with your audience. When you are presenting your speech, remember to talk while you demonstrate. You don't want dead air. Continue to speak and have a conversation. If you're planning to make grandma's favorite chocolate chip cookies and you're stirring and you've run out of material, what are you doing? You're looking down at the bowl and you're mixing. That silence was 3 seconds. Did you hear how quiet it was? Did you hear the dead air? It's really something that you have to avoid in a demonstrative speech. 3 seconds seems like an eternity. Imagine what 10 feels like. Try it. Pause. Count to 10 and hear nothing. And imagine that's what you heard in the middle of a speech. It is definitely not something that we recommend. Be prepared to add extra material. If something is taking longer than planned, have an anecdote, a story, something you can relate to the audience, a rhetorical question, something to keep the speech going, and something to buy yourself some time. If what you're doing normally takes more than 5 minutes or 5 to 7, have an example prepared ahead of time. If you want to bake cookies, have all of your ingredients set up. Then have a bowl where all of your dough is already mixed. Once you have that bowl and you start to plop down your cookies on the tray and you're all done and ready to cook, you can then walk your tray over into the oven and then pull out a batch that's already been cooked. And this is how you complete a successful 5 to 7 minute demonstrative speech in the time frame. You're going to have something prepared ahead of time for those processes that take much longer. If you have handouts, they should be done after the speech. Obviously, this is something that's done in class. If you have a handout, a recipe, or some information you want to give out in class, do it while the next presenter is setting up after you have already cleaned up. And of course, we want to clean up quickly while answering any questions that your audience may have. Just a reminder, this is an informative speech. You already know the basic setup for an informative outline as you did one earlier in the semester. Go back into the module. There's examples there. If you're looking at this on YouTube and it's not in class, leave a comment. I'll send you an example of what the outline should look like. The organizational pattern for this is usually chronological, as you are showing a process, a how-to, which means you are doing a step-by-step, meaning you must do one step to complete another, thus making it chronological. However, there is one other option. It could be topical. If you are teaching or instructing, as this is another form of demonstrative, your organizational pattern would be topical. I hope you enjoyed this lecture on how to perform a proper demonstrative speech. If you have any questions, please ask below in the comments. If you liked it and felt that it was effective for you, please share with a friend. Thank you.